Angry guy here, and no fap damages men and can cause cancer. Don't do it. No fap damages men and can cause cancer. Don't do it. That's what I wanted to talk with you guys about today. There's so many guys that are currently addicted to this no fap thing. They think that it improves their lives substantially. I talked a bit about it in another video where I discussed why semen retention is not a good thing. It is a trick, it is a trap. Now, I'm not talking about avoiding watching content that will stimulate you, adult content. That is something that most guys should really work on avoiding or keeping within extraordinary moderation. And under no circumstances should you ever involve yourself with an OnlyFools account or LonelyFans. Stay completely away from that platform. But keep in mind that the guys that are on those platforms, it's as I said before, they are seeking something that they are not getting in their lives. They're seeking a form of intimacy or degeneracy that they cannot get or express in the natural world. And a lot of guys who are struggling, they think that no fap is going to save them. They think that semen retention is going to improve their lives so much. And of course, there are some benefits that come in the beginning. There are a lot of consequences. I'm going to tell you this. I practiced this for years, years and years and years. I did this. I would go 6 months and then I would screw up. I'm like, oh, I feel ashamed. And I'd do another 6 months. And I would just, and it was literally like, oh, I'm supposed to achieve something. And I'd go to the gym and I'd work out and I'd work hard at my job and my career. And I would study and I would do all of these things. And I would go out in the little free time that I had, trying to meet girls and talk to girls. And Sarge basically means when you're going around, walking around trying to talk to girls after work. Guys, it was absolute nonsense. Men have to treat even meeting women as a job. And I'm going to tell you right now, it did not improve my life. Doing it too much, plucking the chicken too much, that definitely has negative mental effects on you. But at the end of the day, that's something completely different. I want to show you some comments that people left. Pat G commented on one of the on my original video on semen retention damages men. Don't do it. And he said something interesting. He said semen retention also leads to prostate cancer. And this is not untrue. This is absolutely not untrue. There's another comment here from Luck Chase. He says the last time I tried it, my inwards, my jewels, almost exploded. Don't do it. There's so many guys that think this is such a great thing to do. What you're actually doing is you're practicing celibacy. It's the honest to goodness truth. If you don't have a problem with semen retention, you have a problem with adult content that is stimulating you in the wrong way. A lot of you guys don't know how to, or you cannot do this, engage in the practice of plucking the chicken without using adult content. It's a very different thing when you don't have that and you're no longer using it. And suddenly you'll engage differently. Right now, no one in their right mind should be out in Western society trying to get into a relationship. And if you think that you're going to go for a long time, years, without doing it, it's a bad idea. What you're doing is becoming a celibate. And it's almost like you become the equivalent of a eunuch. And a lot of you guys don't seem to understand this concept. You think that it's a game. A lot of women don't realize this either. They don't realize that men can become addicted, not plucking the chicken, not being intimate with women. They can become addicted to having no intimacy, no physical intimacy at all. You guys think I'm joking? I'm not. It can become an addiction for a lot of guys. Lack of intimacy, lack of physical intimacy becomes an addiction. And dudes will literally prefer it that way. There's some guys who know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of guys who actually end up developing prostate cancer because this is the path that they choose. They basically shut it off. The longer you go without doing it, the easier it becomes for some guys. After a couple of years, you just stop worrying about it and you kind of settle into a certain routine. and you forget about it and it goes to the back of your head. And many of you will say, "Oh, it's good." Oh my gosh, I'm going to be so happy, but it's really not all it's cracked up to be. Let's look at this tab right here. This is from Medical News, and it says, so some of the physical and health benefits that I think many of you guys are looking for, and you've brought up: clearer skin, increased testosterone, more weight loss, increased muscle mass, physical rejuvenation, a deeper voice, spiritual health, a greater sense of purpose, stronger or deeper emotional bonds and relationships, a stronger sense of overall harmony. Yeah, bro, here's the thing. None of you should be running out there getting into relationships right now. I've already made myself extremely clear. So you're not going to be developing any stronger emotional bonds. Okay? And there's another very important thing that many of you are missing. It's called post nut clarity. When you are mixed up in this type of lifestyle, and I want y'all to understand that, and you're not engaging, you will not be getting the benefits of post nut clarity. Many of you don't see the world clear until you've had that clarity, until you've had the nut and you've had that clarity. Many of you are walking around for years and you are not thinking reasonably or rationally. You end up talking to women and engaging with women and people that you really shouldn't be. Your brain becomes more desperate. You think that, oh no, I'm healing. No, 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 no. Because you're not doing it, because you're not letting it out, you're basically, it's storing up inside of you and it affects the way you think. So now, even the most bogus, terrible person that you really shouldn't be involved with, you'll involve yourself with them. They'll start to look attractive to you. They'll start because and it's not and this is not an attractive person. This is not an attractive person, but your brain will fool you and tell you that no, you need to. It'll tell you basically the person closest to you. It'll tell you. It will start telling you, yeah, that single mom over there looks good. I'm telling y'all, you do not want to avoid post nut clarity. You need post nut clarity. I'm not telling you have to do it every single day or even every single week, but as for most guys, especially younger guys, at least once or twice a month. At least once or twice a month. If you feel a sense of shame or guilt after you've done it once in a month, that's not the result of doing it. That's a psychological problem. And some of y'all don't seem to realize it because the moment you do it, you feel like, oh, I fell apart. Now I messed up and I have to start all over again. And like on the NoFap forums, they basically like keep track of it. Oh, 180 days since I last did it. And it's like you're competing with other men. This is a bad thing that guys do with everything. We turn everything into a competition, and there are things you should not turn into a competition. This is one of them because you think you're leveling up. You're gonna hit like level 9,000. There are a group of these jokers known as the Wizards. The Wizards believe that if you avoided physical intimacy until 30 years old, you would gain superpowers at 30. Superpowers. While I want to say that they knew it was a joke, there are undoubtedly people who believed it or at least think that it's real. It's insane. Now let's talk about some of the risk. Although there are usually many risks associated with not plucking the chicken, some complications can occur. There's not many risks associated with it. Some complications can occur. We talked about prostate cancer as one of them, but there's some other ones as well because it can actually affect. It can create hormonal imbalances. That's one thing. Many of you think that's a joke, but it's not. It absolutely is not. It can make it difficult for you to actually have relationships. So once you turn it off, it can be very hard to turn it back on again, where you lose all desire. Guys, you think this is a game? It really is. Here you go. So one big issue is issues just performing. If a person regularly prevents themselves or reaching a performance, they may develop performance issues. For example, a person may find themselves unable to perform when they want to. Guys, I've experienced this firsthand. I've done this. I'm 40 years old. Guys, I've done this for years and I'm warning you, it's not what you think it is. And there are guys coming after me in the comments because these are addicts. They redirect. This is something about us guys. We'll get addicted to the gym, just like we get addicted to corn, and we'll get addicted to no fap. Okay, and you get like a high from it. We get highs from we can get a guy can get a high from almost anything. So, for example, a person may find themselves unable to perform when they want to, or they may experience premature performance issues. That's right. They may also develop retrograde performance issues. What is retrograde? That basically means it's basically what causes semen to travel back into the bladder. Okay, so it could actually weaken your bladder. But no, the guys who are doing this and living off it, they're gonna keep on doing it. They're not gonna listen to me. They're gonna come and attack me for even putting this out there because they don't want this knowledge out there. They're gonna say I'm completely wrong. They're already attacking me in the comments for it. They are already attacking me for it. At the end of the day, there are many benefits of doing it. One, it causes, of course, there's the pleasure factor, but it can also lead to a greater sense of well-being. And of course, there is a limit to that. And of course, it may help prevent prostate cancer. And some evidence suggests that regular performance frequency may be inversely related to the risk of prostate cancer. One large scale study with a 10-year follow period found that those who performed 21 times per month were 50% less likely to develop, guys, 50% less likely to develop prostate cancer than those who only released 4 to 7 times per month. That's a massive difference, guys. All right. That's a 50% difference over guys who only release 4 to 7 times per month. So, what do you think happens when you're dealing with guys who are not doing it at all? Because guys who do it 21 times per month or more, they're 50% less likely. This is a large scale study that took place over 10 years. And go ahead, jump in the comments. Start telling me that the study is flawed. All right. These people had a 50% chance, less likely chance of developing prostate cancer versus guys who were already doing it 4 to 7 times a month. And you guys are becoming celibates, absolute celibates. Because if you're on my channel and you're listening to my content, you're walking away from Western society and relationships in Western society. Because most of you are passport bros or men walking away. So you're not focused on dating or relationship. So you're basically becoming celibate. And like I said, it affects your head. And not only does it affect the decisions you make when it comes to women, but it affects the decisions that you make in general. And it can make you very moody. It can make you miserable after a long period of time. Initially, you get a high out of it. You're like, oh, my skin's clearing up. I feel stronger. My voice is getting deeper. A lot of that is psychological. A lot of it is psychological. It's kind of like cleaning up your room. A lot of it's psychological. There's usually an underlying issue that's causing you to do it frequently. If you're doing it frequently, a lot of times there's an anxiety there. You're dealing with anxiety, maybe depression, maybe loneliness, maybe a form of trauma, and you use frequent release as a means of putting a band-aid on it, of coping. Maybe you never learned how to self-soothe. That's something I struggle with. I never learned how to self-soothe myself as a kid. So as a result, I end up breaking down. I would end up breaking down psychologically sometimes when I was presented with problems and issues in my life. And, obviously I have to just fight through them, but it would bother me more than other people because I never learned how to self-soothe. And that's something that happened as a result of my upbringing and my relationship with my mother and my father. And a lot of you guys have these issues. You'll deny them until they affect you later on in life. You'll deny them until the end of your life because people live their lives the way they choose to live them. I talk about this because I want you guys to have the higher quality life. And it's so hard to have a higher quality life when you're completely disconnecting from yourself. And there's a lot of shame and guilt associated with doing it. Once you go down that path, you start to develop shame. And I'm telling you right now, you shouldn't be listening to women who tell you, "Oh, it's more attractive," because you have a bunch of women who are hopping on the internet and now trying to promote this lifestyle and saying that you should not be doing it. You should be practicing semen retention. No fap is good, guys. They're just trying to hop on a trend, and it's not their place to tell a man how to live his life or what to do with his body. And you can see that they're always trying to do it. They're trying to control men. It's a form of control. And many of you are like, no, it's just self-control. Listen to me. Self-control is moderation. When you stop entirely, That's something very different. Okay, that is literally you making a decision that you want to cut yourself off from a specific aspect of yourself. And a lot of men are capable of doing this. They don't realize it. The longer you go, the longer you practice this lifestyle, the more likely you are to completely stop doing it entirely, to completely become disconnected from yourself, from others. It doesn't bring you closer to others. It separates you from yourself, and it separates you from reality, because every guy needs that post nut clarity. I want to know your thoughts in the comments, what you think regarding what I've said here today. If you agree with me, disagree with me, if it's somewhere in between, I want to know your thoughts. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away, and cheers.